Hiya, friends. How is everybody? I'm
Da-da-da-da.
so sorry, Colleen. That's a lot to worry about. And I hugs to you and feel better. And I hope
Yep,
he does too.
yep.
Hi, Dana. How are you? We're a little early. We're doing some experimenting today, and we'll wait for some people to come in. While you're at it, if you could, I always forget to ask for a nice thumbs up. And if you're watching the replay, a thumbs up would be much appreciated. Or
And if
subscribe.
yeah, subscribe. And if you can't stay throughout, that's okay. We understand. Come back and leave a comment would
Yeah,
be wonderful.
yeah, that would be amazing. We're
Hmm.
going to do my favorite thing today, which is experiment. And I think a lot of us, raise your hand. Is it your favorite thing, Violet?
My favorite thing is watching you guys do it.
So you don't have to.
No, no, I have. I think I'm less a mad scientist than you and Fran. You two have you have a wider vision than I do. I get focused on something and doesn't occur to me till after the fact that, oh, I could have done that.
Well, I get stuck sometimes, but it is so fun to experiment. And hi, Estella. How are you doing?
Hi,
Hey, Lynn.
Estella. Hi, Lynn.
I'm so glad you're here. Um, Yeah, I love to experiment. I always have. It's my favorite thing. It is absolutely my favorite thing to do when I'm feeling creative. Um, because I love the science bit, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
so we're going to talk about something that Fran and I are doing together, and I'll just start explaining that. Um, and today I'll be doing some different paint techniques that you can use on chipboard or wood or multi surfaces when you want to do a sort of grungy aged background. And they're just good things to do anyway. I used to do furniture a lot. So a lot of these things are stuff that I've done, but not applied to paper, maybe. And today I'm making my AKC storage box in the game of art tag with Fran. Did you
It's
guys
not
type?
it's not the game of fart. No, it's not. That's
And we did notice it said that.
yeah.
We
Hi,
thought it was funny.
Carol. I'm so glad you're here. I hope everything's
Hey,
going well
Carol.
for you today, Canadian artisan.
Yes. I'm so glad you're here.
Mm-hmm. She's
Yeah, we're
teach.
gonna.
I'm learning how to do bobbin lace making from her.
Oh, yeah, I saw what you were doing.
Yep, she's a good
Um,
teacher.
it's amazing. I did catch up on all the videos from Fran's challenge to me. And I decided because she did kind of a metal patina look, that's why I'm doing a chippy wood look. And then I have some other stuff that I'm going to be adding to it. And I'll share kind of where my head was going with this project. I had too many seeds. Do you ever get too many seeds, guys?
Too many ideas, seeds of
Yeah.
ideas. Hi,
Yeah.
Sherry.
Hey, Sherry. Glad to
Good,
have you.
Carol. Good.
Uh, yeah, don't fart on your pillow. That's right. Yeah, it's a game of art tag, and we actually let Violet choose that. I mean, we threw out some ideas, and she chose that
Hey,
one, which was fun.
I thought that's gonna stick in people's minds.
Yeah,
Hi,
yeah.
Evie.
Hi,
Hi, my
Evie.
Evie.
Yeah, where are you? Oh, and we did start a little bit early. I'm just kind of waiting for people to come in.
Yeah, we've
Um,
like a minute and a half. No big deal.
so I'm going to share some things that I like to do when I have extra paint on my palette or a bit of scrap wood laying around so that I can come up with different paint techniques and do some experimenting. And then later, I might use these things in a project and I already have them on hand, or I might use them just for inspiration and just like set them on a shelf. And this is kind of what I'm doing today to share because we were at the experiment phase where Fran did an experiment, so I thought I should do one too. It's hard to sand and crackle on camera. So that's something that happens off screen, really. So we're just going to prep, get ready. There's another one. And I have several wood items here that have like a coat of paint on them. Some sanding has been done, and we're going to do those experiments on those. Oh, and I have these here, where I just glued a book page down and then a book page with some gesso. And we'll do some crackling and creasing and dendritic marking and,
I like dendritic.
I do too. And I actually, if you use a palette knife, you can get that look. What did I do that on earlier? I'm trying to remember. Yeah, it's the wood one like this. Hey, do you guys have stamps that you unmounted? Because that's good for this too. So that is, I don't know if you guys can see that dendritic, that's just from using a palette knife and doing this with it when the paint is wet. So we're going to just kind of go over these with our crackle and see what shows through. That's the plan. Or you could use these little wood chips. They come in different shapes. You put them on a ring, do a little sample pad for yourself, but make sure and write on the back. If you don't, you'll be wondering how you did that.
Mm-hmm. Hi, Martha. Hi, Debsy.
Hi, Deb. Hi, Martha.
Should we ask you how you know?
How I know what? How I know to write it down?
Yes. Yeah.
Because Fran asked me actually when we first met. She asked me how I did something to a piece that I had done years ago, and I couldn't remember. And because she wanted to see, and she wanted to do it herself, and I said I really don't remember. And I think it was something with texture paste where I had taken bubble wrap and pushed down on it, and while the texture paste was wet.
Uh-huh.
I was pretty sure that's what it was, but I wasn't for positive, because it was like little
You got to
pieces
know
that I left.
now that Fran's paying closer attention to you. You got to know. She's going to ask you this stuff.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
need to
yeah.
know.
So what I recommend, if you get either chipboard pieces or scrap wood of any kind, it can be paint sticks from the store even. Leave a side blank to write on, or around the edges is good depending on the wood, or give yourself just like a little label somewhere. And these are things I can use in projects later, like an encaustic maybe, or the background from something, or I just like having them around at different stages ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
A couple ways you can actually beat up your wood before you even get started with your layering is to take it outside, and this is really fun. It's good for our soul. Put some bottle caps, some screws, maybe a piece of chain on there, and go at it with a hammer. Seriously, a hammer.
Seriously, distress it.
Yeah, yeah. Before your wood does anything, or after a paint layer, or I've done a lot of that, and I have like an industrial cart. I did that to a couple years ago, and then it's just stained. So it's got all these dings, and it's just really fun. Anyway, and everything that I'm doing today, you can do on paper if you gesso it first. Just so you know, that
Right.
was
You can
why I
use paper or
pulled that sample out.
chipboard or a cereal box. You
Right,
can, yeah, you can.
right.
Yep, there are options. It doesn't have to be a piece of wood.
And don't forget, you can use your unmounted wood blocks from your stamps
Oh
if you've
yeah,
taken them
yeah.
apart. That one I'll probably use like it is in a project, but you know, stuff you get at the Dollar Tree, or I mean, the thrift store, or if you have stamps that you've unmounted already, these blocks are perfect for those kind of things. They're just good for projects. All right, let's see.
Hi, Diane.
Hi, Diane. How are you? I
Hawaii,
just ordered
Hawaii,
some glossy
Hawaii.
gel medium from Pink and Maine that I will be able to foil on with my mink foiler. Watch out. I didn't quite catch that. I've never seen a mink foiler work, but I know what it does. So I do have one here that I did white gesso and black gesso. And what I want to do first, I think, is let's get a layer of texture on here, though it may take a while. But I want to talk about how you can use Elmer's glue instead of all these different crackle pastes. That's something else. I have a bunch of crackle liquid that's made for furniture. And that one right there. That weathered look, these are really old and I need to use them. So the first thing I'm going to do on my gessoed surface, let's use the black one first. And it's dry. And then I have to choose a paint color. So I'm going to choose something with some contrast. And everything is contrast with black.
Abby says she's in the process of removing her stamps from the
Oh,
block.
that's good. Save
I'm
those
gonna,
blocks.
I'm gonna do the same thing now that she's brought it to my attention, because I have a number of them that I picked up in a pile from a thrift store, and I'll just never use the ones
Right.
that I'm just gonna break them down and save the wood.
So I've actually never, I'm trying to decide on a color here. I've never tinted my glue, but I know you can. And I've used Elmer's glue. But when I read that you could tint it, I thought, how fun is that? So I want to use something with some high pigment. Can you guys hear me? I'm turned around at my glue station.
No, I can hear you. I hope everyone else
can. One of these liquid ones, because they have a high pigment because they're golden.
Right, Evie? They are hard to store with all the blocks.
They are. And you're still storing them if you save some for painting techniques. But, maybe you can display them because they'll be interesting, or use them in projects. Okay, so a contrasting color. I think I should just use white for now. And then go in with some gold afterwards. Where's my white? That's yellow. There's, nope, blue. Why can't I find it? Yellow. Where is it? Do you see why? Oh, it's right there. Hiding.
Right there. Lynn, you have a Minx, I have a laminator, and I have a laser printer, so I know exactly what you're talking about. I understand the Minx is probably better. The laminator was for me, the laminator had more uses than just foiling, so that's what I got. I love doing that now. I didn't think I would, and I love doing it.
I'm just going to take the lid off of this.
Yeah.
Well, that wouldn't have worked anyway. I would have squeezed forever. It's got a stopper. Must be fancy.
Yeah.
I'll throw that away.
Oh, no, you don't. That's one of them bits and pieces you saved.
Oh, gosh, I have too many bits and pieces. You guys, I have been redoing this room, and I have overstimulated my brain. I am trying to put it back together while I sort things, because I really need to purge some, or I can never get anything new again. There's no room. So you want to put your glue on pretty thick.
Now, Lynn, if you're going to do that, you have to post in Makers. You really do. I want to see that. Now you've got my interest. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. You want your glue pretty thick. And then, I'm just going to take that off because I'll probably use this on too. And I won't be able to see how much I have in there because it's the same color, but the white should be a nice contrast on a couple projects. So maybe I'll have some made up. And we obviously won't see it crackle on camera. So I will post pictures when it's done. So what I'm doing, I'm going to be using a wood box, and I have several to choose from, but I think I've narrowed it down to the one I want. You're the one that I want. You got me what I want to. Honey? You got that, right?
Yeah, I got that.
Ooh, got me. So I know that you need to have, and I've not done this one before, like tinted the glue, but you probably should have about 80% minimum of the glue or the crackle medium or whatever it is you're using. So I'm going to make sure to mix that up. Hard to see on white. Ooh, look at it get kind of weird. We'll see if that works, I guess.
Like white icing.
Yeah. Well, and you want to spread it on kind of like icing too. So you're going really thick with it if you want
Now
it
I
to.
want cake.
Yeah, it's like frosting a cake.
Man.
So the thicker the glue, the bigger the cracks. Because as the glue dries, it'll make cracks.
Now I thought you could just add water or put somewhere I saw it. I'm not sure. You add water or no, that makes it like Mod Podge. Maybe it was spread the glue on and then spritz it with water,
I don't know. That's another experiment.
and that made it separate and crackle.
I'm not really sure. There's one more thing I want to try, and that is my graphite paste here. Because if I can get not graphite paste, I want to make graphite paste, but this will make it gray. So it should be like a tone on tone. And it's powder, so I don't think it'll matter as much how much I put in there. So what I'm going to be doing is a tray that I'm going to lay down. I'm going to add feet to it.
Hi,
and I'm going to put
Trish.
dividers in it. Hey, Trish. So we'll see if that works too. And that graphite is for locks. We talked about that before.
Yep.
If you missed it, it is the kind that you get at the hardware store that they would use for keys, like to lubricate a keyhole, which I don't know why you need to lubricate a keyhole, but okay. And I know you should try not to overwork it. Try to go in one direction. Might not matter as much with the glue, but and we'll do that. That's pretty thick.
Right. Evie says paint, PVA, and water makes a pouring medium. Yes. And by the way, speaking of which, I did Penka nominated me 10 images, 10 pieces of art. There you go.
I was so bad at that. I just been so
Well,
busy.
I have never done it. I've never wanted to, but what the heck? We're gonna give it a shot. And I've got I posted my owls for the first one, so tomorrow I'll find something else. But I have done paint pour. Evie brings that up with the paint.
Oh,
I've done paint pour, and I do have some canvases on my walls.
I did not know that you made any of. I mean, I know you've tried it, but I didn't know that you made any artwork for your walls. So, did you post any of the pictures? I haven't been available to get online.
Not yet, but it's
Well,
going
I'm
to be.
excited.
I have a favorite, well, a couple favorite that are going to be that I am going to show. I did okay. I thought I did okay, Evie. I just didn't like the waste of paint.
Yeah, it would bug me.
That drove me nuts. And I think I showed Sharon way back when I showed her these big pieces of dried paint.
Glue, yeah,
Yeah,
or
that
paint, yeah.
because it dripped off. It's like whole sheets of paint, like 8 by 10 almost size sheets of dried paint.
Yeah, that would drive me insane because paint
Yeah,
is expensive.
yeah.
I
Well,
think that's
and
why I
I
haven't got
used the
into it.
craft. I used the craft paint, so it wasn't too bad, but it was still a. And then we had some house paint, leftover house paint laying around, which is acrylic paint. So I used that, but it was still, yeah, the skins. Thank you. I couldn't think of the word.
I have a big tip right now. Don't let your cat in while your thick glue is drying.
Right? You think?
It would be terrible because that stuff is on there thick. This is cheap, so I don't feel bad about this, the white glue, you know. That's like Dollar Tree stuff, so it doesn't
Right.
matter.
Right.
But paint, that's a different thing altogether. Um, so I kind of need this to dry, and I'm going to move on to another container. I do want to see, because we kind of made a paste with the graphite powder. I'm going to use a brush, and I'm going to put it on one of these wood chips here because I don't like waste. I don't like waste. So,
You would end up with furry crackle. That's what Lynn says.
oh my gosh. And she would get it everywhere. Come on. It would be terrible.
I don't even want to think about glue
Yeah.
drying on her fur coat.
Oh, yeah. And the footprints. Yeah.
Yeah, Evie says, "Thanks, Sharon. Now you tell me."
Yeah. Like to help
Yeah.
where I can. So the reason you don't always have to have it painted underneath, I have another idea, experiment to see how it's going to look if I use the Old English on the cracks, or even if I use like a spray, say like a bright red transparent spray, and let it go through to the wood if there's bare wood showing, which I think would be pretty cool.
So that looks like you brushed it on fairly thin. That will crackle anyway, you
It
think?
should. I
It
don't know.
should.
We're seeing this is an
Yeah.
experiment with these. It's kind of it's thick. It's thick stuff. So I I sometimes it drives me crazy that I deplore waste so much, because I'll end up with all these extra bits because I hate waste and I had to save it. Um, and that's something that I'm trying to work on, you know, being okay with just throwing it in the recycling bin sometimes. I can't do it all the time, but I can't use it all. I don't, life is not long enough to use all this stuff.
Right? Right?
And
Well,
I want more cool stuff. So,
after Friday's stream, Fran was showing that book cover that she was working on, that she worked on and made some time back. So she's completing it. And if you didn't see Friday, you need to go see Friday, because I had not seen that before, and even I was amazed and
I
loved
did
it.
not see Friday. I saw all the other streams because this is a project we're doing together. And it
Right,
was a
right,
challenge. She chose this challenge, and then I get
right.
to choose the next one, which is the game of art tag.
Yep.
And I just thought it would be fun for us to do something together because we are so alike in the things that we like. So
Well, if you see Fridays, if you get to watch Fridays, you'd only need to see the beginning to see what she did. She show the book cover. It's steampunky. And
oh, cool.
after the stream was over, my husband was sitting behind me on the sofa while we were streaming. And after it was over, we were talking to him, and Fran's like, "Well, don't you have your husband trained yet?" And he's like, "What?" And what she meant was, because he and Ian, her husband, are in the same um they do the same thing for work. They're in the same career,
Oh, they are?
Yeah, they both work on medical equipment. Um so, which we didn't know when we met. But anyway, Ian brings her bits and pieces and stuff. So anyway,
Like Bill does too. Yeah.
right, and
Yeah.
she was showing Russ some of the bits and pieces that were on her book. She was telling him what they were originally. And she's like, "Well, don't you bring her stuff?" And he does. He had just brought me some O-rings and some other things, and some wire connectors. And I said, "Yeah, but I'm not very good at assemblage, so I kind of set them aside and never really worked on them. But I'm digging them out now, because that book cover is just, it blew me away."
Well, that's kind of what I'm planning assemblage style on this box. But I actually have way too many, like I have a pile of boxes. And I wanted to do wood because Fran did paper and I were showing
Mm-hmm.
a variety of
Yep.
techniques.
Yep.
And I have been saving these spam cans. So my original thought was to have it set up this way, have the spam cans in, and have little knobs on them. But I decided, after too many seeds, I narrowed it down. I decided to use the wood box this way, which is why we're doing the experiments we're doing today to see what technique I want to use on this. But I'm going to add 3D bits to it. and I'm going to put feet on it and little dividers, and I think they're going to tilt back just a little bit. So it's a long skinny box, and then I can do more long skinny boxes to sit next to it on my counter.
Yeah.
I like things that are like this so I can stack, because I have an attic room and it's really hard, and I have to figure out weird storage solutions because my walls are short. So that was originally why I wanted to kind of put it like this, but I decided that I have a spot for this on my counter while I'm redoing the room, and I'm going to make this look like an old chippy, interesting something. I have lots of resin bits out. I have different pulls and different things to use for feet. I just don't know the finish I want to use on it yet, and I thought it was a good time to experiment. So yeah, all boxes must have feet, definitely. Even if they go like this, they get feet sometimes. But I do have these. So the magic of television, we get to, because I don't want to be sanding off camera, I have these that I painted ages ago, and I just sanded them before the stream. So while we have stuff kind of drying, I thought we'd try different techniques on these. And the first one I think we want to do, I'm going to put the purple one away. And these aren't old. They're something my mom got for me. They have little hangers on them. And I've never really used them correctly. I mean, I've hung them on my pegboard. They've had pencils. I never seem to know what to do with them, really. They just never look right wherever I stick them. But the first thing I want to do is some Old English. So I'm going to take the green one for that, I think. And I know I shared this with you guys. It is one of my favorite things in my art room because I can do so much with it. And where I sanded this, and I have some bare wood here and there. And what I want is a layered, aged look. So it's got one layer of paint, two maybe. I can't remember what color it was to begin with. I think it was green to begin with. I'm not sure because I did it so long ago. I mean, I've had these forever. But what I'm going to do first is this. Let me grab a paper towel.
Hi, Rhonda.
Hey, Rhonda. How are you? Now, you can obviously use stencils and, decoupage and stuff and then do these finishes, or you can do it afterwards. And just we're just talking about layers in general. So what I want to do is really get this on here. And where it's got this sort of, where all these little edges are, that's a great place to, I'm going to use a brush first, get in there and make it darker. You can do this with paint also, but I'm going to let it sit for a minute. I don't even remember what kind of paint I used on this, and sometimes that makes a difference too, because the glossy ones kind of are more sealed. They don't absorb as much. Well,
that's what it's looking like, is a glossy acrylic
it does.
That you're going to need to let that sit and stain a little bit.
Yeah, that's why I decided to go for the brush instead of wiping it right back off. But then I can also use other things on it, and this will work on the raw wood where I sanded it down. But I should be able to do the same thing without this, but I could use like a transparent medium, like an ink or like a spray, but with a brush or a sponge, and get some variety of color on there. Just deciding, kind of what I want my box to look like. What color I want to peek through, how many layers I want on it. And these boxes are great for practice. Look at that, where it's getting really dark right there. It's soaking into the wood. Yummy. Yum. So this is more like a wash, using it like this, or a stain. And I do like that. I make products for your art room like this too. Like a instant age varnish or a liquid wood stain or even like a brown ink of any kind that you can sponge on. But I'm going to let that cook for a minute.
Lynn says she used to use it back when she did decorative painting to age her wood plaques. I could see that.
The Old English?
The Old English, yeah.
I'm the only one I've ever known to use it in like a paint. I always try to share with people, and I love it so much. I told you about the time I told Bill I was almost out, so he put 3 bottles in my stocking. Which was really nice. So because we did that one on that, we're not doing that one on this. So how about for this one, we add our tinted crackle on top. Or let's do that with the purple one because I really just don't like the purple one. It's very shiny. So let's see. Just dusting. So let's do and you can always sand it back again too if you want some raw wood after the fact. Let's do, trying to decide what color here. Should we do white or like a beigey color on it? Let's do that. But this time let's mix it with the crackle.
Ooh, really getting mad scientist.
Yeah. So this time, and then I'll decide after I see all the finishes how I'm going to do my box. I really want a layered, chippy, aged, multicolored look. So that'll be the key. There's so many ways you can achieve that too. Let's see. So a beigey sort of kind of off-white or a darker off-white. I wonder if metallic paint uses or works with this because it is different, you know, like the makeup of metallic paint. Sometimes it dulls its shine when you use it different ways. I need to do this.
That's good color.
I think I might need to add a bit of white to it. What do you think? But I want to, you know, knock back that purple and not have it showing up really, other than through the cracks, hopefully, if it cracks like it's supposed to. I want a white. I'm going to use this sort of white just so it's very liquidy. I've been really excited about this project, and you guys need to know I haven't created anything since the last time I was live because I've been working on this stupid room. You ever open a can of worms and you can't turn back? Yeah, that was me. That's what I'm doing. Piles everywhere. It is coming along, though. I just haven't done anything else. Ooh, it's kind of doing a separating thing. Do you guys see that? It almost looks like chocolate.
It doesn't want to blend.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I like it when things like that happen, though.
Almost like pudding.
Okay, I'm going to use a different brush here, and then we'll have to get it in water right away. So I'm going to use this kind of a brush this time, and I'm going to go in one direction. Ugh, I might hate the color. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Yeah, it didn't blend at all. But then I'll probably go over it with an additional layer anyway, with the Old English or with some walnut stain. Just want like a beigey color to knock back that purple. Stuff is really liquid. This crackle medium.
I like what you're doing with it. Where are you going?
Well, we'll see. I don't know why I'm doing the back, but I should take those things off. Back's not going to show. It doesn't matter. So the cracks should be smaller on this one because I'm brushing it on thinner. And this stuff is so thin already. The
And yeah,
thinner your crackle medium, the thinner your cracks or smaller your cracks will be anyway. All right. So I'm going to set that to the side. And I'm going to let it drip and, get some interest. I'm not sure about the color, but we'll see what happens. And I could put a lid on that because I don't like it enough. I'll have to mix some more colors with it. I should have made wax paper back here. All right, there's another one. Looks like I have some cracking starting over there. So drippy is something I like. And look what's happening right here where it's just dripping down. That's kind of what I'm going for here and what I want, I think.
Rhonda says,
Right.
"Cool little box, Sharon."
Oh,
She's got a
thanks.
number like that, and they're. Well, I'll let you say it. Where
What's
you
that?
got the boxes where they're not actually boxes. They're
Well, it's a set of 3 of them.
yeah.
And they're not old, but I'm trying to make them look really old. And I think I think they were already in the colors that you saw, but I made them darker, if I remember. And then I have this one. While we're on the boxes, we should just finish. So with this one, maybe I could use a spray on it and kind of blob it on and see how that looks. And the spray also shouldn't affect the raw wood. I should still be able to go in with the Old English after it's completely dry and age it a little bit more and darken it up. So what if I use, let's see, thinking like that's turquoise, I'm thinking red. What do you think?
I think that's what you said. I thought you wanted to go with the red.
I don't want it to look pink. I want red. I kind of don't want anything shiny too. Okay. How about sweet cherry? And I just want to put it here and there, I think. Not everywhere. Let's see. If I use a brush, then I can go in and like this and blob it on and see if it works even. It looks pink. I don't want it to look pink. I just want it to be in spots, and then I'll go for another color too. I like the idea of having a lot of multicolors and then doing a crackle over something. That would be fun to have like a rainbow of crackle effect sticking out, I think.
Lynn wants to know what brand of spray is that.
This is Lily Swap or no, Heidi Swap. Heidi Swap. It's in cursive. I don't know. I got a bunch of sprays in a box.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm seeing it too with that blue behind there. The red is it's getting a purplish tinge.
And then maybe if I drip it, maybe run it over the edge, and then I'll spray it and see what happens. I want drippy. Kind of looks pink, and I'm not sure about that part.
Is it pink? Because it looks purplish.
Pink, yeah.
It's got a purple hue to us.
Like that. Ooh. Yeah. That's okay. And then remember, when I go in with a varnish or with the uh, Old English, it's going to darken it up and make it look old. Like the colors will get more of a vintage vibe. And I don't think I've ever done a piece of furniture without Old English. I just can't. It's like an addiction to watch everything get old right before your eyes. Brings everything out. Yeah.
Rhonda says blood spatter.
Well, it's a little bright, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's Dexter, isn't it? Well, that's really cool. I wish I
Murdery.
yeah, it's a little bit murdery. Kind of wish it was a darker red, and I wonder if I have a darker red that I can put on top of it. And some of that might not stick also. Or I wonder if I can just do this now. Got my walnut spray. It's walnut crystals and water. That's it. Maybe that will work. Ooh. Come on. So how's your bobbin lace coming along? Are you working on it right now? Is that what you're doing?
Nope, I finished the last project.
Yeah.
It was just a sample piece. And then we went off on a road trip, and I've been busy cleaning, or like I told you earlier, talking with family um since then. So I haven't done. I think I did some doodling. I did some just doodling, not even coloring, which I like to do. But I did a little bit of doodling when we were up north.
Like the
And then,
tag that you sent me that I love.
okay.
So this what?
You want me to remember? You want me to remember what I sent you?
Oh, the remember when you were doodling on Oracle cards and you sent me
Oh,
one
I
that
did
you
the
doodled out? Yeah.
those were the doodle flower
Yeah.
thingies, weird flowers. Actually, no, I need to get back to those. I was gonna use the stupid YouTube. You went your quality decreased right there. Everybody needs
Is
to
it fixed?
no. So we'll just wait it out. Um, No, I had all those envelopes that I doodled all the flowers on. It's not your camera, I don't think. I think it's the internet.
Oh,
It,
okay.
it's the service. It's not your camera. Um, I had all those on those envelopes, and then Paula reminded me if I use those to ship things, they might get stolen because they're so colorful and pretty. And I hadn't thought of that. So now I've decided to just ship things in plain envelopes and maybe cut those envelopes up ATC size.
I always decorate my envelopes, almost always, if I
Almost
send a
always
paper
I
one.
do that, but
Yeah.
nowadays it Paula's not the first one that told me about
Really?
yeah, so and
Huh.
she hasn't said she got hers yet, her teacup, so I put it in a plain envelope, so it's like, I'm gonna send her another one. We'll see.
Yeah, like they're expecting birthday money inside or something,
Yeah, I don't know.
maybe. Okay, I'm going to take this whole piece of paper here to the back counter and let this dry. If you guys
Oh,
weren't here, I would take out my heat tool, but I'm going to let it just dry on its own. I don't
Lynn
want to.
says that murdery one, you'll have to store your skulls and bones in that box, and your wishbones. Rhonda
There we
says,
go.
yeah, store your wishbones in there. That's a cool idea.
I think it looks brighter than it doesn't look that murdery in person, I don't think. I think it looks a lot brighter and it's almost fuchsia. I don't think I've used this color yet either. It's pretty cool fuchsia red. I need like a burgundy, I think. which I
Rhonda
can
says,
always use ink.
"Oh my God, I miss Dexter so much." Oh,
I never watched Dexter. I was afraid I would be too grossed out.
oh, my
Not
husband,
really sure.
he was a big fan.
Was he?
Yes. He's doing now that he's home every night, he does marathon TV. So um right now he's doing Supernatural.
Oh, yeah, I started that series and never finished it.
Well, he's from beginning to end, and of course, because I'm downstairs and I'm right there, I'm following along with him. And
I really liked Fringe. Bill and I watched Fringe and really missed it when it was over. That one was super good.
he says there's like 16 episodes left, so he's almost to the end, or six or 16, I think maybe
Huh.
six. And he's almost to the end. And so I looked at him today and I said, "Well, what are you going to watch next?" He goes, "I don't know." I'm like, Cheers or Barney Miller or something like that. It's like, because he doesn't know,
I
picking
actually
on.
started watching The Clinic. While we chat, I'm gonna mix this. I'm trying to decide what to mix it with. Um, but The Clinic on BBC, or not BBC, on, I don't know, it's on my Prime on either Acorn or BBC, and it's a Scottish or Irish doctor's clinic, and it's not my usual type, but it just sucked me in, and I've already been through 2 seasons this week when I was not feeling well after long, hard days of rearranging. So that's what I've been doing in my off time while I'm on Pinterest.
We
Okay,
have a
so
lot of we have a lot of channels, and I tease him because he will spend like 2 hours going through the channels to see what he wants to watch.
oh, I do that too, though.
And I'm like, really? Seriously? I don't watch that much
Be in the
TV.
mood for it, right? Don't you have
Yeah.
to be in the mood?
I like English movies, old
Yeah,
movies on TCM.
like
Um
period dramas and stuff.
I like British movies, that historical British movies, like The Empress. I'm When that comes around, I'm watching The Empress right now, which is
I
about the
haven't seen that one yet.
Austrian queen. And I like All Creatures Great and Small.
I watched the old one, All Creatures Great and Small. I mean, it was so old, and the film
Hmm.
quality on that, I think I got through like 4 episodes, but I really want to watch the new one. And I don't have PBS. It's PBS, right? On demand.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, it's on
Yeah.
YouTube. It's on YouTube TV too, and he just got us YouTube TV because we're cutting out a lot of the other
Get a
channels.
Roku. Do you have one yet?
We do.
It's so good.
Hmm.
We love our Roku. Okay, so what I have here is the gray paint that I made, but only because I wanted to kind of match this and I want it to be a little thicker. So any sort of thick acrylic paint would be fine, or you could probably use glue even or whatever. Um, so what I want to do with this is create like a special texture. Um, I'm going to be putting texture bits on the box and the feet and the probably a handle in the front or some sort of a knob. But I like the texture bits because it gives you the opportunity to have all these nooks and crannies and creases and, to have darker areas. And it just gives things more interest. Um, of course, we're getting flat on this because there's no 3D bits on here, but we will get the gist of it. So I'm going to mix up some of this iron sand paint. We know it's iron. Did I tell you this story?
Mm-mm. Go for it. Keep going.
We went to Cape Disappointment and we noticed when we walked out onto the beach, there were patches of the sand that were just black. And I thought it was interesting and whatever. But then Bill was flying his drone and it went down in one of those patches. And I'll be darned if that sand didn't stick to his motors with the magnets. So
Wow.
and it's heavier by far when you hold it. Like this is really heavy. And I think there is uh, ship pieces underground there. That's why it's called Cape Disappointment, um, because there were a lot of shipwrecks. And I think that's how it creates this iron sand, but that's just my theory on that. So what I'm going to do is take some of this iron sand and mix it with that, and then use a palette knife to scrape it on, because I think this is a great way to age something as well. If you want to get like in the corners, and if you want to create a rusty texture or any sort of weathered wood, this works great. A texture like this. So we're going to mix some up, and then I'll have it ahead of time. So I'm going to put it in this. Okay, your turn.
My turn.
Your turn.
Let's see. Rhonda says tar patches. No, the tar, if it was tar, it wouldn't have attracted to his drone magnets.
Yeah, this is iron in here.
It's iron. There's metal in there. Whatever it is, it's metal.
I actually made slime with my best friend's kids when I was watching them several summers ago. And we did art projects every day. And one of the days we made slime, and I used that in the slime, and it would swallow a magnet if it was sitting next to it. It was really cool.
Okay, so I have refreshed. I have changed the settings back to 720. And you are
fixed?
No, you're still blurry. I don't know if you're blurry to everyone else, but you're blurry to me.
It doesn't look blurry when I'm looking at it at all.
And I'm hardlined. I'm not Wi-Fi. So is anyone else seeing the graininess of Sharon's video, of her stream? Or does it look normal to you? Because I don't have anything left I can do.
Is there anything I can do?
Yeah, it's blurry to everyone else. I'm saying that's the internet. I'm saying you've got a weak signal.
It's really stormy here. The wind is blowing crazy. And it's just been really wet all day and windy.
Hi, Barbara.
And the wind is super cold.
Hi, Margalo.
Hey, Margalo. Hey, Barbara. Hey, Dana.
No, it's too many of us, and because I've refreshed and I upped.
Here, let me see what I can do.
It's the it's the internet.
All right, let's see. If I go into my settings, is it going to mess anything up?
I don't know why you would go. I don't know that there's anything you can do, Sharon.
Oh, okay.
If it's the internet, there's nothing you could do except refresh, go out and come back in. And if you do that, I wouldn't want you to lose the stream.
Right.
So,
right. Okay. Well, hopefully it'll fix itself. So the way this is not sticking to this that I'm seeing, even spread on, that means it's too dry. So what I can do from here, I can either add more paint, or I think it's a better idea to add a little bit more glue. It's just not wanting to stick to it.
Lynn, she's in Washington State.
I am. And it's been just really stormy. And we're at the mouth of at the end of a big, long valley that floods and gets, it almost always has a flooded field somewhere.
Right. And Colleen's in Washington State too.
Yeah.
I agree with Lynn. It's a full moon.
Is it?
It isn't a full moon. What do you get? What? You're in another planet, not another state. It's not a full moon.
It is? Wait, I'm like confused. Yeah.
No, not yet. We're only at the halfway point, aren't we?
I don't know. I haven't been paying attention. I've seriously been doing nothing but working on this room and sorting and rearranging until I'm exhausted and I collapse, and then watching the clinic. That's it. So you guys see I'm adding glue to this now, just to get it to stick, because I clearly added too much sand. My mom does sea art, and I recommended that she make up some of this to add sand to her pieces, and she does that now. Her husband builds these tri-level posts, and she decorates them with sea stuff and puts lights on them for outdoors. But
Yeah.
that was where I thought about sand in my artwork or in my paint and mediums, because it creates a texture. So the best way to go about doing that is, if, say, I have goodies on here, I would go around in the corners, use a palette knife, skip it here and there, do some of this, and it's sticking now. That was all it needed.
Nope, it's only a half moon, Lynn. It's a waxing gibbous. It's only a half moon. I try to follow every morning. I do a moon phase, a little meditative thing with the where the moon is and what it's doing and how it affects us. And no, it's not yeah. Margalo says, she said it's not a full moon yet. She checked yesterday because the kids at school were crazy.
Margalo, you work at a school? I didn't know that. I had no idea.
And then Barbara says it's like adding pigment to grit paste. Like yes.
Yes, exactly. Yes. But this was my homemade paint with the iron sand, so that'll technically be magnetic afterwards. It should, a magnet should stick to it if it's not too diluted. And although I'm not going to put a magnet on it, but it's just a great way to get down into the corners. And I wanted to make up some of this iron paste. So,
and I was going to tell you, you could have spritzed, because that's a wood block, you could have spritzed it with water before you spread that on there. That might have helped for it to adhere.
Well, I just put too much sand in it, and now it's perfect.
There you go.
So I will have to make a label for that one, because this is now a sandy grit paste.
Lynn says it looks like wet cement. Yes.
It does. That's really cool. And if you put some white in it at this point and kind of modeled it, let's do it. Why not?
Margalo says she's a Montessori teacher, preschool and kindergarten. Oh.
Well, maybe I did know that. I'm just going to put a couple drops here and there on here, because this is a highly pigmented, and then these blocks don't go to waste. I mean, like I said, these can be used later in projects. I can use them in backgrounds, or I can just refer to them when I want a technique for furniture or for small projects or for tags, or, it's just a bit of inspiration, and I'll have to go in and write down on the backs of each one of them if I like them. That's how I'll do it. Or I'll do a selection of wood tags with the same techniques. But it's just scrap wood, so I know what I'm going to do to my box when I get it started.
So Evie wants to know, when it's dry, can you sand off some paint and rust it?
Yes, you can. This will rust, and that's the fun part about having an iron sand texture. It will rust. If you watch, what is the show? It Will Cut. It will rust. What is that show? Forge Master.
Oh gosh, I haven't heard that in a long time.
Something like that, I think. Anyway, that's fun. I like that. And these spots right here won't be stuck, because that was when I had too much sand in there. That'll be a really, no, I can't get them mixed up. A really fun thing. Boy, it's heavy to work with, I think. And I might end up using it. You could paint it too when you're done, if you don't want it to look like concrete. I mean, you could do flower pots. You could use something like this and put this over the top and do like some concrete looking flower pots. That would be fun. Or concrete on tags or journal covers would be really cool.
There's this one lady I watch on YouTube occasionally. Her name is Helen from Georgia. I don't know what her YouTube channel is, but I have literally seen her buy this cement mix and dip cloth in it, like old towels or cloth or whatever, and then she wraps it around.
And drapes it.
Yeah, I love doing that.
Isn't it? Yeah.
I've always wanted to make, there's a name for it, and I can't think of it right now, but I've always wanted to make one of those great big giant leaves.
Oh, yeah. A stepping stone
No, it's
or like a bowl.
like a bowl. It looks kind of bowlish, and it would be like for a bird bath or whatever. I
Huh.
suppose you could do it as a stepping stone, but I always wanted to play with cement and do that. It was like,
It always looks fun, but then it's really messy. My friend and I went and got cement because and then we got to the hardware store and we were like, oh my gosh, it's so cheap. Let's get two, and they're big bags that we could barely lift. And then it rained and our cement set up.
ah,
We had it on her porch that was covered because that's where we took it back to her house and we wanted to do these things. And we did make a few things, but when it was outside and it's very damp here, it rained, that cement all set up. We were so upset.
hi, Kathy. Yeah,
Hi,
I would.
Kathy.
I think Helen was good at making. She would make, like, using buckets and upside down bowls or whatever. She would make mushrooms and she'd put them in her garden. She'd paint them and then put them in her garden. And her garden area is beautiful. She's an elderly woman. I mean, she just
Huh.
came out of the hospital a while back with
Well, I
heart
don't know who's
problems,
lifting
but
that concrete bag for her because they
she
are
has she
heavy.
she buys the smaller bags. That I do know. She bought like 20-pound bags at a time. And I know she has a grandson who she's very close with, and he's almost always there for her, especially now.
Oh, yeah, he must lift it for her. Hey, let's wipe this off now, shall we? Let me get another paper. Um, and by the way, welcome, Kathy B. Thank you for joining us. We are
Mm-hmm.
creating, so if anybody's coming in late, we are creating, I want one of these, but I don't want a bag. Hold on. I'm looking for one that's clean here. Creating wood textures so that you have them around and it's nice samples to use on projects or to inspire you for projects. I'll use one of these. That's okay. And I'm showing some of my favorite techniques and then experimenting with some new ones because I'm going to be making an AKC artist keeping card or a tag or journal card container out of a wood box. And I'm going to age it and I'm trying to decide on the technique. So that's the plan. And now you're caught up.
Now we're caught up.
Mostly. I mean, I've just been playing here and I haven't explained it all really well. So, okay, now I need a paper towel.
Now, how do you say her name again? Tell me so I don't mess it up.
Who?
Jetta.
Uta?
Uta. I'm there. You
Hi,
go.
Uta.
Uta.
How are you?
There you go.
Okay, so I'm going to wipe this now. And some of that's going to stay behind in the little cracks. The thing with Old English is when you use this, you kind of want this to be one of your last things because it has an oily finish, which is good and bad. It
Like a
depends on what you're
barrier.
doing. What's that?
Like a barrier.
Yeah, it can create a barrier. So you don't want.
Let me see your cloth there.
I'm just using a paper towel. That's
Let me
it.
let me see that. Okay.
This.
Yeah. I love wipe offs. I love brayer off sheets and wipe off cloths, and they get so pretty.
Oh, look at that. So that knocked back I
The
mean, the green
green.
was dusty already, but it knocked it back and made it look really old. And now the rest of what's sitting in the cracks, I'm not going to try to wipe off. I'm going to let it sink in. And it will lighten up a little as it absorbs, but I love that.
Mm-hmm.
At this stage, I still think I would try to do a little crackle. So if it's a technique that I want to use on the raw box, I would probably wait to do the Old English last then. So I would crackle it first and then do the Old English. But we are experimenting, so I guess I could throw some crackle on here.
Well, if you wouldn't mind, you could actually take sandpaper and
I
scruff
have
it
that
up.
too. Yeah,
Yeah, and
which I
that's where you would
already did
crackle.
really. Um, it's very scruffed up, and that's
I
how all
meant
these marks got there.
I only meant to knock back some
Oh
of
yeah,
Old English so that you
Yeah.
can have the crackle adhere
Yeah,
better.
you totally could do that.
Uda, it's not a spice box. It's
It's an old, like an old sewing box, it looks like.
yeah, that's the word.
Um, and I have a set of 3, but they look just like my old sewing drawers, except they're short. But they are made to look old.
You know, now that I look at them closely. It's been a while since I've done Michael's in the Hobby Lobby, and I was just in Michael's. That's something you would see in Michael's, isn't it?
Maybe. I've had these for so many years though. Um, so I'm not sure where it came from. It was something my mom gave me
Oh,
years ago, and
yeah.
they've
Look, Rhonda says it has that old world vintage green. Yeah,
yeah, well, and that's
absolutely.
because this
And
was added too.
yeah, the English, old English,
Yeah.
really. And Lynn says, if the cracking doesn't take crackling, you could adhere broken up eggshells.
Yeah, that works too. And I
Hmm.
actually, with my
Tip.
bear box, I'm gonna be adding things to it, like maybe some resin pieces, because I like to have things like that on hand. Here, let me share. And that way it gives me, and that's got Swelligant on it. That way it gives me the opportunity to add pieces here and there to
Ooh.
add creative textures or to give a place for, I know it's a big box like that. And then maybe put the handle right there in the middle. Or I even have some, like these have Swelligant on them. You could do that with paint too, though. I thought it would be just fun to, start adding things
Oh,
to
look
it
at
and
that.
then
Oof.
giving crazy
Yay, she's
textures.
back. Yay.
What's that?
You're back.
Oh, did it unfog
It
or whatever?
unfogged. It
Oh, I'm so
unblurried.
glad. Thanks for hanging with us there, guys, for
Yeah.
that. Sorry.
Yay. It unblurried.
So as far as feet go, my thoughts were I could use
Right,
dice.
Barbara? It's like, wait, there's more. Um,
I
she
always
says,
have, yeah.
the goodies in that box are amazing. Yeah, I said, Barb, blurry gone. Yay. When she brought out the good stuff, the blurry went.
Oh, well, I'm
Yay.
so glad because there's a lot of detail here on my desk now.
Yeah.
Here, let me share. These are just kind of some of the things that I could use on this box to make it special. Dice make excellent feet. Chess pieces make good feet if you put them upside down, and they turn into more like legs. Um, you can use your wood spools as feet,
Ooh.
or even a wood spool as a pull on the front of it, with a fun, um, like flathead screw, a rusty one on there. Or you could use clothespins for legs even. Add them to the sides and make it kind of taller. That would be fun. Jenga pieces work great.
Deb C
Cork
says,
works.
I picked up a lovely tea chest, not antique or anything, but ever so cool for $4 at the thrift store last month. Big
Oh,
lid,
that's so cool.
little feet, absolutely pristine condition. Going to keep little hardware and other parts in it, I think.
Are you going to scuff it up? It's pristine.
Oh, you have to.
You
Yeah,
have
have
to
to.
scuff it. I mean, that's what we're doing today. We're sharing
Yeah.
ideas and ways to scuff your stuff. Here's a thought too. I have these plastic placemats that I used a long time ago for when I first got my gel plate, and they're cut up and they've got layers of paint on them. These are things that could be added ahead of time before I start doing my techniques on them. Um,
You're
I
off
mean,
camera.
oh, sorry. They could be added to add that bit of texture that I need, and it's plastic, so it's going to keep its texture. There's another kind of textury plastic placemat. There's another one. Those are really fun to work with. You can cut shapes out of them or just do them off in a corner somewhere. Um, Here's corks that have caps, and they also make really good feet. I have some drawer stuff here. This is metal. Wouldn't those be cool on the sides?
Mm,
I have
I
two of them
love
down
that.
here. I do too. And you just make sure you use some good glue. You don't have to go in with your hardware.
Right.
This
And
would be a really good clue.
gel medium would work.
Yeah,
If you didn't mind using it that way.
yeah. If it's nice and thick, or
Hmm.
A6000 or whatever. And
Yes,
this is
Gorilla Glue.
one of those things that Bill brings me home from work right here. And they were for, he does police cars. And this would have had lights in it, uh, like the headlights, like what's under the glass, the reflector part. And he brought me a whole bunch of these, and I just think they're so much fun. But if I painted that and it didn't look like crystal, it would be really cool on the front. It's just the right size too. But I really want to put a handle on it of some sort. I always have a collection of these hanging about. Whoops, keep getting off camera.
Yep, I like those.
Um, and then, of course, you could use regular knobs or just make your own out of fabric or a piece of bent wire. I like that a lot, but it would be.
Film canisters, pill
And I'll probably
bottles.
rust whatever hardware I'm adding to this, like the feet and whatever textures, but I will do that part last after I get my finish done on my box. I mean, there's a place you've got to figure out what steps to take at what point. And sometimes that is difficult, but that just comes with time. I also have these. This is copper tape that I ran through my embossing machine. And these would make really great trim pieces, things like this. Like I could cut that and put it in corners. I don't want to cut it right now, but I mean, can you imagine how beautiful that would be in some corners or as a label? This is from an old curtain. That would be a cool knob. I mean, there's just the possibilities are really endless. There's a fan. I could use a few of those. Broken fan. And after you get the paint on, it just kind of melds with whatever your project is. It becomes part of it, you know?
So we would ask, are you planning on putting a lid on it?
No. What I'm going to do, here's the plan. What I'm going to do is put a card of some sort, let's pretend, at an angle, I think. Now, this isn't positive yet. I may change my mind about this. I just finally figured out what I was doing, but I think I'm doing that at an angle. So that'll create, the cards will be laying back that way. And then I can set it on my counter. But I think it'll be fun. If I don't do these leaning back, I will do little tab dividers instead, which I like making. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a good box for this. All right, so what should we do next? Let's paint the box. Maybe I need to get some gesso on it and you can tell a joke. How's that? Let me get some gesso on this box while you tell a joke.
Joke. If you'd have seen me this morning when I got up and where my hair was all, I forgot how long my hair was. And so I usually sleep, I roll it up into a bun on top of my head. And that way, when I toss and turn at night, I'm not constantly pulling my hair, getting it caught, wrapped around my neck. I'm watching you.
Lynn said film canisters. Does anyone have those anymore? Or pill bottles make great feet too. They do. And after a certain point, I start calling them legs when they're tall. And I don't know at what point you decide, oh, those aren't feet, those are legs. But
Yeah, the whole leg.
marbles are really good, but you have to use a really good glue to get them to stick.
Yeah.
Or some of those glass stones, those work really cool. I've used those a lot. Anything beads.
Well, at that point, you could
Anything
also just
really.
go out in your driveway and get 4 rocks and little
You
rocks,
could.
and there you go.
You could. You
Yep.
could. And I like the idea of using this one because it's really raw, and I might add some torn or burned book page to it as well. But I do need to get gesso on it first, and that's kind of important. And black or white, I guess that's the choice because then it's going to get sanded, and then it'll get layers of paint, and I'm really going to grunge it up. So
And
Mhm.
Otis said bottle caps are cool too. And
They
you
are.
were just telling me that if you had a piece that was like pristine, then
Like
take it
this.
outside and
Put
get
bottle caps, chains,
chain
screws. Yeah. Hit
and
it
then
with a
just hit it with a hammer and grunge that piece of wood up. If it's a sturdy piece of wood, if it's, if it's a chintzy piece like balsa or something, you would break it. But these are nice looking.
So bottle caps actually make the really cool round indentions. That's what
Mhm.
you end up with, and I really like the way it looks. It's very
Mhm.
cool. Um,
Good for
you can
distressing.
also burn your wood. Take it outside and use a torch on it, and it'll burn away, and the grain of the wood will show up. So then when you do a paint technique on it, you can just use a palette knife, say, and just scrape your paint over and let some of that wood show through, which is
Treat
really fun.
children, do not do this at home.
Yeah, do that outside though, okay?
Yeah. Yes.
So maybe what I'll do, I like the way these look. So maybe what I'll do is glue down some of the book page, and then I'll start scraping the gesso over. So I'll have the multicolor because I think I like that. And then it'll get other layers. So that'll just be kind of what shows through or what I decide to let show through. Make sense?
Mhm.
Oh, we forgot one. We did forget one technique. Hold on. And there are others sitting here as well, but those are alcoholic for another day. Vaseline. Do you know about the Vaseline yet?
The resist.
As a resist, yeah. And you all
Mhm.
you do is wipe it on here and there, which is I really like this technique. And it gives a completely different look. So I'm just like choosing some places. And maybe I'll use a palette knife. Get
Yeah.
it a little thicker.
Evie says a friend of hers distressed some new furniture. He beat it with heavy chains.
Yeah. Yeah. Use a chain.
Yep.
And then whatever you set down on it, you can use the hammer to make the indentions of those items. It's really fun, actually. So let's see. So I've got some Vaseline on there. Yeah, I love this technique because it's instant satisfaction, by the way. It's about to get real instant on us here.
Mhm.
Color. I need a color. How about that brown? It's my favorite pearl brown. Actually, I'm gonna put it here. And a brush. Sorry I'm not myself tonight, you guys.
You're not. Who
I've
are
just been
you?
so all over the place because I've been so busy creating or
You're fine.
organizing.
You're fine. Whoever you are tonight is who you're supposed to be.
You ever just not feel like yourself? You know.
That was the other day that was Friday with Fran. It was like I think I was overstimulated from all the
I
joy
think
of
that's
that
what it
trip.
is.
I
Overstimulation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had so many people I had to talk to, and it for me, like
Yeah.
three people I met face to face, had talked to. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That overwhelms me. And but just the whole trip was just joy. Was just
Oh,
so
that's so
much.
cool.
I loved it. And I think I was just on a high. I was just on life's high.
I've just been emptying boxes and sorting stuff, and I haven't had time to create at all. And I think that also does something to me when I don't take the time. Do you guys feel that way? If you don't have your creative outlet, um, you don't feel quite like you had that release or that therapy? You missed a session?
And we talked about that. I get dissociated in at times. I get like what am I doing, because you're doing something by rote, but it's still not quite right. It's like, yeah, Rhonda says, yeah, I really don't like my off days. Exactly.
Yeah, yeah, it is hard. And then I because I haven't been able to create since my last live because I moved all the furniture in here. It was already the can of worms was already open and I need to complete it. And so I was really looking forward to tonight. So I wasn't gonna like say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm gonna stay in and organize alone and
Mm-hmm.
cancel. I didn't want to do that. I want to play. I want to play so bad, you know.
Okay, Evie says I've done this on ATCs, and I need to ask, you've done what? You've beat it with heavy chains, or
The
you've used
Vaseline?
the Vaseline? Which was it? The heavy chains beating or the Vaseline resist? Because ATC's beaten with a heavy chain might be a
Yes.
little extreme, Evie. We would talk. We would have to talk later. And Barbara, I love this paint too. It
It's good
turns out
therapy.
I'm gonna get some. It's from Amazon. It's called Got a Deal,
Uh-huh.
GOTIDEAL. Um,
And
it's
this is
not,
my favorite color from them
yeah,
too.
exactly. You use this a lot. So
I do. And the
I'm loving
gold.
that paint.
And it's really thick, like, I feel like anything crackly you put over the top of this is probably gonna do a really good job, which is why I did this sample piece with the gold and brown.
Hmm.
Because it's almost thick like patent leather. It's very plasticky when it and thick when it's dry. So, I feel like the crackle will want to do it more. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
I wanna turn the volume off and, hit this with the heat gun so that we have the instant satisfaction and
Okay, because I'm
when
waiting
you
to
wipe
see
that
what
off.
it's doing, and it's
Okay.
not doing anything.
Yeah, it's not going to until I wipe it. So it'll just take a moment.
Okay, mute.
Okay.
Evie, I figured it was the Vaseline you meant. I was being a brat. I was just being a brat. I want to see what this does. I know I've used the Vaseline on cards, but I've not used it on wood. So, is it bubbling there, or is that just, yeah, oh, it is. Okay. Very cool. There you go, Evie. Yeah. So Debsy, you've
Okay.
used the Debsy says I used the silver of that Got a Deal all over her Christmas tags. It was
Oh,
amazing, thick, opaque, so shiny. So that's a nice recommendation if that's what you want. She's not tried any of their other regular acrylic shades. She's waiting for someone else to. I'll tell you what, Deb, she's got more than this color. Oh, look
I
at
have the
that.
blue, the gold, and the brown.
Yeah, that's
Oh, and
what
the orange that I barely used still.
that's why they're in my on my Amazon wish list. Look at that. Oh, that's cool.
So wherever the Vaseline was, that's why I wanted to dry it real quick so I could show that when you wipe it away. And I always get in real close with the heat tool so I get a nice bubble too.
Well,
If I can make something bubble, I will
I've
for
seen
sure.
Vaseline used with oil painters. You know, they use it as a resist.
It's
Um,
really good on furniture, as a resist. Now this paint might be a little thick for it, but it is. I mean, it still works. I'll probably
yeah,
wipe
it
away.
peeled off right where I saw it bubble.
Yep, yep, yep. And you don't have to bubble it. I'm saying I like to get in close when I heat things if I'm trying to get a texture, because sometimes those bubbles, like on a glue or on a paint, add something to it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
Yeah. So where you're going to add um, any sort of extra visual texture at all, you're going to want to hit the edges where people might touch it more if you're doing a piece of furniture. The handle, the edges where that might get dinged up if you think about, kind of where to add your where a natural chippy finish might happen. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So where it's going
Yep.
to get
Right.
more
Right.
wear and
Yeah.
tear, really.
Right. And yeah. Barbara, I agree. Learning so much. This is why I say when you guys
Oh,
when you come to the groups, when you come to the streams, if you can, I'm grateful for replay, but sometimes you can't. Which replay was it? I bring a notebook. I write things down, and I write the who the streamer is, and I write the date of the stream and the title of their stream.
I
And
almost asked you guys to get a notebook out tonight, and I forgot.
yeah, I have my notebook,
Yeah.
and my notebook is downstairs because I know I go back and watch the replays. But even with Fran, I keep notes. I go back and write down maybe paint colors. If she names them, write them down. Because I know she did that one stream, use that paint color. What was it? And I don't really beg her to remember everything she's done. A
So
database.
I really should be doing every technique I'm doing, but because we're live, I'm not. But doing them all on these as well, and then writing on the back
Yes.
the different steps. Because some things you need to add the layer while it's wet. Some things you need to let sit, like the Old English on the where the wood was bare. And some things you need to let it dry completely between layers.
Hmm.
So it's about knowing your mediums, and if you don't experiment, you don't know. You know, I mean, I could get messy and get it up to my elbows here in a live stream, but it's that hands-on experience and experimenting that you're going to have so much fun with, and it'll make you remember and kind of learn what technique you like, what style you're more drawn to,
Hmm.
what is, you know, more visually pleasing for your eye, for yourself. Um, so what I wanted to do with this, I took that got a deal before, you know, before we came on live, because I wanted to make sure that it was dry and show you, and that's just the gold and the brown, and I used a palette knife. But I wanted to see if this specific paint, because it's so thick and almost plasticky, if it actually made the crackle better. And this crackle always comes out because it's a liquid, and it always comes out like smaller cracks. And we did use the glue earlier. Now I want to tint this and spread it over pretty thick and see if I get a nice big crackle on top of that Got a Deal paint. So that'll be the last thing we set aside, and then I don't know what else we'll do, but we'll figure it out.
And just to recap, I think you told me before we came on that when you put this on, when you spread
Mhm.
it on with your palette knife, or this, or even your paints, or your not your paints, your yeah, the crackle, then do it in one direction.
Yeah, do it in, and some of them I know that there was one brand, and I don't remember which one it was, said to go perpendicular, and isn't that the opposite direction? You know? So I don't know, but I you should be doing it all in one direction unless there's a weird brand out there that's telling you otherwise.
Okay,
That's
so you can go back and forth,
Yeah,
but
you can, but try to go
don't
in one direction
in either horizontal or vertical.
because that's going to make a difference on your cracks.
That's
Because you
right.
notice your cracks will be in kind of lines.
Right.
That's why.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And you don't have to put crackle everywhere. You might just do a section, you know, just do some corners, or and try not to have real straight lines, or, you know, have it matchy if you want it to have a natural aged finish. But you don't have to go for a natural aged finish. You could just be going for different. That's okay too.
Yeah.
So I don't have another container to mix it in, and not handy at least. I think these will be too hard to mix in. I don't know. What do you think? Should I try it? It was that or this.
Do you have a glass plate or
Oh, I
a
have
big,
these always. I just don't
like
want to have it stick. I'll use
Fran just mixes stuff on a plate because she can get better into the corners better. So
yeah, I'll just use this.
even if you have a larger plastic lid that you could mix in,
This is my watercolor thing, and I'll be able to clean that out later. That's
yeah,
fine.
let it dry
All
and
right.
peel it out.
Yeah, that would work too.
Hmm.
Okay, it's only because I don't know about this Deco Art One Step Crackle, how it's going to dry in here, whether it'll peel out or not, but it should
Hmm.
wash out if
Hmm.
I do it fairly soon. Okay, so I'm going to tint this like I tinted the other and make sure I have a minimum of 80% of the crackle medium. And what color should we tint on it? It needs to have some contrast. Should I just do white?
White or blue?
Like a dusty blue?
Like a well, I was going with teal, like a teal
Oh, yeah, we
aquamarine
could do
blue.
that. That'd be fun. Let's do that.
Like a green blue. It would have a green
Yeah.
blue tint with that
So
gold. I'm looking at that and
come on. It's getting goopy. There we go. Okay, so how about we'll use one of these again because they have a high pigment. Any of your more expensive paint has higher pigment, remember? And we will try it's the phthalo. Let's see. It's phthalo.
That's awful green.
Well, and I was going to put a little drop of blue in it, but
To the
I
right.
don't want to do that.
Second one from the right. What is that? It's got a bluish tint to it.
Where? This one?
Up,
That's
top,
also the
top. That one to the right. Go to the right. The other
one?
right. Your other right.
This is my right.
Uh-huh. So if I tell you to go to
Oh,
your
oh,
right.
you mean this? Okay. This is Lumiere, and it's but it's sparkly, and I don't know
We
if it's got
don't
enough
want
pigment
that.
in
We
it.
don't, you won't, you don't want any mica or anything like
Yeah,
that in
probably
there.
not mica because an aged look probably you might have some gilding that's showing through, but probably not too much mica. You've got to be careful with your metallics if you're trying to get a real aged look. Let me just grab some Liquitex paint. How's that?
There you go. Just a drop.
Okay. So we'll just use that one.
Oh, there you go. That'll do.
It's a good color. It's like, I think that's this one right here. I'm pretty sure.
There
And
you
this
go.
is just a palette knife scraped on there. What was left over from gel printing. And then I think the black might be spray paint because it was those big sheets of paper that Bill brought home. And I was painting something and that was my drop thing. Ooh, got a big one. Okay, so I'm just going to try to put a drop. And this should have high pigment too.
Yeah, I like Amsterdam. All my paints are Amsterdam.
Let me I want a brush that won't suck up too much color here. I really, really want, I guess I'm using this. All right, let's see if we can get this over here. Because that paint is thicker, that means my crackle is going to be nice and thick this time. All right. So with this, I'm going to scrape it on the edge first and give it some of that. But I don't want it to be even at all. And I'm going the same direction again. This might be a winner, actually, for my box. I do love these colors together. And then I'm going to touch it here and there and do some scraping.
Okay,
Oh, look at that.
Message from Fran. She's out of internet. They've got it down for maintenance or whatever until Sunday, 5 a.m. Sunday.
Fine.
So that's why she's not here. I know she wanted to watch what you did, so she'll have to come
she
back.
was gonna try to be here, but I know that it's really late for her and I did not expect her. It's okay. Paula set an alarm too, and I told her you don't have to do that. We need to have an earlier stream time sometime for our Netherlands and UK friends and Australian friends.
Well, and that's the joy of replay.
Yeah. But I know they want to be here live, so.
Deb C, I could actually and I try to unplug from the internet as far as my computers and that for some part of a day lately. It's needed. My husband's boss has a cabin that is off the grid, and the other day, and it's up by up in the UP, and the other day we were talking to him and he told my husband, you need to take your wife up there and use the cabin.
Oh, how cool would that be? Wouldn't that be wonderful?
Well, it's off the grid and it's in he had to show me aerial view. I'm like, dude, you need to get a drone. because you can't easily find it.
Really?
Yeah, and
I love off the grid. I want to live
that's
like that. I'd be
he's
okay.
he looked at me, he goes, "You would like that?" And I said, "Oh, that I would love that. That's
Yeah.
me. Russ is a city boy and I'm a country girl." Um,
I always thought I was a city girl, but
um,
I like being off the grid now.
and he said that he has a TV antenna, so you could like turn it if you wanted to watch TV, you could watch TV. You probably get maybe 3 to 5 channels local, maybe good weather. If you wanted internet, he has that there. You'd have to plug it in and plug in a switch to connect with a cell tower or something. I didn't understand all of it. And I'm like,
Oh,
why would I do that? I would no. So then I was telling him about how when I was younger, I tanned deer hides and I butchered deer and went out and my ex was a hunter. Oh, is that gorgeous? That's gorgeous.
I really like that.
Just a little piece and you did all that.
Well, I wanted to use that up too,
Yeah.
but that's a crackle medium. It's still going to crackle, and then I could end up with some bare wood where it cracks, or this could seep through. I'm not sure, but boy, that's pretty. I really like that.
I have a feeling it's gonna seep through
It might. I mean,
and
it's a good
tint it a bit.
experiment.
Yeah.
It makes that color just so much richer, doesn't it?
Mhm.
Um,
Right, Rhonda? Wow. I exactly. Wow.
let's put that there. Should we do a big one of those? Just the same, and I'll use because I have these. I also pulled out these wood postcards, and I've got this balsa wood board thing here, and none of these
Right,
will go to
Mary.
waste. I mean, they're all texture bits that I can use in projects.
Mhm.
But we could do this one. Let's do this one. And instead of that, let's use either should I use Old English or should I use one of these liquid wood varnishes?
Mm-mm-mm. I'm
What do you
looking at
think?
it going, I would pull out my wood burner and I would be doing some wood burning on that. Mhm.
Well, that's maybe an outside thing. I don't know. Oh, I have an idea. I have this stuff. This is brown fabric ink. So you can try any medium. If you like the color, give it a shot. See what you can mix together. That's why it's mixed media. So let's try that.
Imagine though that you found these things and you accidentally, oops, spilled them. And then you look down and went, oh, that's cool. But then try to do it on purpose.
Yeah, that was me just using that up. So I'm gonna do like a half and half here and we'll see how that half works because this is made for fabric, but it's just ink with a little dauber.
I
And it's
made
old.
I made small journals out of old book pages, and I used shoe polish.
Oh yeah, you can use shoe polish. Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't have ink pads. I didn't have distress ink pads or anything like that. So I'm like making do with what I had. And my husband says, "Well, we got some shoe polish. Try that." Yep, it worked. And
Oh,
then
awesome.
when I ran, and it was the liquid stuff, with the little foamy top.
Yeah.
So then I ran out, and so I'm running to the dollar store or Walmart or wherever, and I'm looking for more. And all I could find is the little round tins that are waxy. They don't they just don't feel
They
or
will work, but it's different.
yeah,
And
it's
if you get
different.
it at the Dollar Tree, it's not going to have as much pigment because it's from the Dollar Tree. So it's just like paint where the more you pay for it, the more pigment, unless they're just ripping you off.
Yep. There we go. Okay, I missed what you said. You froze and then you blacked out.
Um,
They will work, but
they will work, but it'll just work different. And
yeah.
it's just like paint where your pigment, the more you spend, the more pigment it probably has in it, So it might be more waxy than you realize if it's like from the Dollar Tree or a better brand might have more color in it. Okay, so we used that, and I end up with all this stuff because I buy craft lots. Like I didn't have embossing powder or anything like that a couple years ago. Everything that I have, almost everything, I got in boxes that I bought like blind. So that's how I end up with weird things like that.
And Rhonda wants to know the brown, the dark brown up there, the small one that you put the dark brown on that we said would seep through. That's Old English, right?
Oh, no, that was walnut spray.
Oh,
That's
that
just
was
my walnut crystals.
on the teal one up there.
This one right here. This is my walnut ink with the
Mhm.
water.
There you
And
go,
then
Rhonda.
I put that on there pretty thick because it was the last of it. And then sprayed it with this. And look
Yeah,
what it,
it's
do you see what
yeah,
it's doing?
it's soaked in. I told you it would, and
Oh,
it'll leave a
beautiful.
nice look at that. It's a halo on there on the teal,
It is.
like a halo.
And let's see what happens here because now we've got 3 different browns here. Look. So it doesn't matter what the product is. If you're into mixed media, I say go ahead and give it a shot, you know?
Yeah,
Might even be able to use like a liquid ink, like a re-inker or uh, the oxide ink, or you might get a really cool
I'm
response with
I'm
when
I'm
you mix
to the
them together.
I'm to the point where I'm looking at my husband's shirts after dinner, going, I need to dip my paintbrush in some tomato sauce and some and then there's mustard over there, and I mean, it looks really cool on his work
That's
shirts.
really funny.
Well, I'm just saying,
So funny.
you never know where you're gonna get color and
Yeah, yeah.
inspiration.
But you don't want ants. Just remember,
No.
you can use any color you
Well,
want.
and
Not don't get ants.
that's why I say add peroxide or vinegar to whatever you're doing, and that will kill any bacteria.
Um, so I also have the crackle paste. This is just the liquid stuff that I'm working with right now.
Hi,
Um,
designs and do-overs. I don't know your name, but welcome,
Designs and
welcome.
do-overs. I do know from makers, and I'm trying to remember. Will you tell us again, pretty please? Okay, so I mixed that together.
Kristen,
I'm going to do it again. Hey, Kristen, I'm so glad you're here.
thank you.
We are having fun with different techniques and experimenting, and I'll let Violet tell you the rest because I'm going to concentrate.
Yeah, because you really need to focus on mixing.
No,
Okay.
on this bit
I
right
know.
here.
This bit right here. Okay. Just
This is the crackle paste with the paint. So I'm putting it on pretty thick, but I'm also skipping some spots. And hopefully it will crackle and it will have some interest. And I'm going to see how it reacts to that Old English and then also the fabric ink. I didn't even know they made fabric ink when that showed up.
I didn't either.
Look at what's happening right here. It's mixing. Can you guys see that? Where the brown is seeping
Yep, I
through?
see it.
That's cool. I'm okay with that.
Hi,
Right?
Mariah.
Hey, Mariah. It is setting up pretty fast, this mixture.
Those little chips you have there, those are nice, aren't they? Those
They
are
are. They're little wood tags, like I
yeah.
got at Christmas. They're great for your leftover paint or ink or whatever you have out on your palette. All right, I'm going to leave that and let it do its thing. So that's 3 different browns with the same mixture of crackle paste and the turquoise to tint it in the Amsterdam.
That little one is just
Yeah, it is. It's going to
that's just
dry a little
cool.
bit different. It will look different. It's going to lighten up a little bit, and it might get another spray after the turquoise is dry.
Mhm.
I think it'll drip if I do this. It looks pretty wet. No, not.
I don't see it moving.
And this one, that it goes like this. This stuff right here, this ink, it looks like it's going to raise up and have the turquoise come down like inside. So that's pretty cool.
Soak beyond it. I
Yeah.
agree, Debsy.
Okay.
She'll post pictures
I
in
will.
Makers as soon as these are all dry and whatever effect
Yeah,
they
it's
end
gonna
up with.
take a minute, and I need to remember what I did so I can tell you in Makers. For all the all the people that are curious, because they're all going to look different. You can use the same colors and get a different effect because you use different mediums. So I just think that's fun. Okay, so we mixed the graphite, right? We've got this, and we mixed this. This is the sand. This is the graphite. I didn't mix that up ahead of time. Wait a minute. There it is.
And
Right
the
here.
sand as in the metal sand, right? The iron
And that's
sand.
the iron sand, yeah.
There you go.
And let's see, we didn't do anything with walnut crystals yet. Do you guys remember this? Remember this combo? What happened?
Deb C wants to know, Miss Sharon, did you ever reveal the name of the song? Is that
I
the song?
did. I did. It was Magic Man. Did you get it? Magic Man, like, because he was a magician, and the boxes were wonky with the saw, like you put the girl in the box, and
yep,
there was a lot of stuff from the lines of the song too. Yeah, and I kind of thought everybody would be like, "Oh, yeah, I see." after I told them. Okay. Gosh, I hate to waste that goodness, but I'm gonna have to. I could do this. And not only do your mediums make a difference with your outcome, but your tools. So you can use a brush to help you, or a palette brush to help you. And you have all those different shaped brushes when you get a set for a reason, because they all do different things. And the same with your palette knives. I can scrape any of this up because it's pretty thick. And this is book page and gesso that's been put on exactly the same way. And do a scraping. Just kind of skim over it.
I like that sound, that textural sound.
Me too.
Yeah, the scraping and the wiping. Yeah, it's just so cool.
Sanding. I like sanding. It never sounds as good on camera, but it is nice. I want more over here. I don't want that straight line. Another thing I could do is use my finger. Your finger with gesso is really good if you just want like a wash. And speaking of wash, I wonder if I can put a little water in that and do another one and just put a wash over the tag. So that's just chipboard with gesso and a piece of book page. How about, let's use this one. Put some water in here. Not let this go to waste. Let's see. Brush. See if it kind of is having a reaction, those two. They're kind of thick. Because there's no gesso on here, I'm not going to get real strong turquoise color.
Oh, that's all right. Look at that. That's good. It muckies it up a bit.
Yeah, it does.
That's nice.
There's not much here, so it's kind of dry. All right. Now I can throw this away. So, were you guys here when we mixed these two together? If I can find a container, we will. These two actually had a chemical reaction when we did it. And before I started tearing apart my room, I had those pieces out so I could share them with you. And I don't know what I did with them. Just a sec. Let me have a moment. So the pieces actually started flaking off. And I ended up with these brown flaky pieces right here. Let me show you. I ended up with these weird brown flaky pieces that flaked right off. like this. And I put it in a clear medium and spread it on something. And that's not the brown ones. It looks like there's the gold ones mixed in there too. But it was from a reaction that happened, a chemical reaction with this stuff. And it's just so cool. And it happens immediately. Do you remember that? Sure you do. You don't remember
I've
that?
slept since then. No, I remember. I know what you're talking about. Those little pieces, yes.
I actually have the container we mixed it in, I think, is right here. Yeah, it's a yogurt container. See what happened with that? And then you've got these little brown pieces, and it's a really cool texture that looks like old chipped paint, actually. Just like that.
Cool.
So let's do some of that up, and it would make a fantastic texture on anything that we choose. Because then you put paint over the top of it. And I'm just saying, don't be afraid to mix stuff. I mean, if you get a chemical reaction, maybe something really cool will happen. We'll do it on this side so you can see. So that's the Deco Art Duragloss or Duraclear High Gloss. And it's just like liquid glass or whatever. What's the other one called? The brand. I think it was this. So this is the walnut crystals in the water.
Yeah, I remember you doing this now.
Yeah, remember I was trying to tint it and it reacted, which just turned out so cool. So immediately it should happen.
Mad scientist.
And there it goes. It's beginning. Come on. But it gets thicker, and then it'll turn into these little flaky pieces.
Bits.
Whatever you put it on. So, and I think I actually have more of this. More of one or the other. I don't remember the ratio that we did last time, but boy, it was cool. I don't either.
Yeah, I remember.
This isn't getting as thick as it was, so one or the other. But what I did was I spread it on like cardboard, and it filled in all the little gaps. And it created a texture. I don't know why it's not happening.
Yeah, it's not mixing as well this time. It's almost separated still.
I don't know why. But it will dry thick like this and have this grit in it. And maybe... Did I use it straight? I don't think I did.
I guess we're going to find out.
I guess I am. That's what happens if you don't write it down. We weren't trying to, though, do that at the time. It just turned out really cool.
It was a reaction, yeah.
Yeah. And this has water in it now, so because I used the spray that I made up. But that looks cool. Look at how dark.
Right, because what you put on the wood is so light already. It's like it's not the same. It's certainly not the same.
Well, it turned hard right away. The other stuff. All right, let's use this one, or this one. You'll be able to see actually. Let's get some of this on here.
You're 7 minutes from 2 hours. Yay! Okay. You did good, girl.
Well, I feel like we got through a lot of experimenting today, and that was the goal. So that we could show different techniques, different ways I might approach my box, and how I might go about doing different textures on it to get an old look. And I think that's going to dry beautiful, actually. And do you see what happened here? That actually looks really cool because the blue became very chalky and it looks like a patina.
Look at that. Where's Rhonda? Rhonda was watching. I think it was Rhonda.
Yeah, that looks just like a patina. In person,
It didn't look like so much when you put it on because it looked like
no,
it was watered down, but I like it.
it is watered down because I was just cleaning out the bowl and it's got a really
Mhm.
chalky look and there's multi-tones in there.
Mhm. I like it.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I need to stop and this is why we do it. So that was the watered down crackle liquid with the Amsterdam and water.
And what's under? Oh, never mind. I was gonna say what's underneath it, but I'm ahead of you.
Um,
I'm
what's
looking
underneath it is only this
the
gotta
yeah,
deal
the
paint.
gotta
That's
deal.
it.
Yeah.
So imagine if I had used a copper on that, how that would have come out also. I mean, it really, that's not even copper and it looks like a copper patina on there.
Mhm. Mhm. Yay.
Very cool.
Very
I'll take a
cool.
picture of this one first because it's dry. All right, so let's see how this is doing. And then we'll go revisit our other experiments from tonight. Oh
The
my gosh,
boxes.
that's cool. That's so cool. I like what's happening here. And then this one, which will get another layer of brown. Then we have this one. This
Mhm.
one just needs some love. All right, let me grab these other pieces. We have this, which has the
Mhm.
Old English after the sanded paint. That.
Buddha says she likes to write things down and then promptly lose the notes.
I'm going to write on each one of them if I can. I mean, if I'm going to be using them for samples, then I need to write on them. Ew, this looks like vomit. It needs another
Oh,
layer of something.
that purple just doesn't want to go away.
It doesn't. It needs another layer of
It
something. It's
looks
gross.
it looks
It's textured.
Victorian. It looks 1800s.
It's very, very textured. Remember that wouldn't mix together?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to give that another light sanding after it
Mhm.
dries all the way
Mhm.
and do another layer of something. Maybe something dark but not purple.
Very 1800s. Very badly 1800s.
Yeah, I don't
Because
like
it
it.
didn't want to lose that purple.
No. Okay. And then this one is not going to be ready until tomorrow because remember it's on there really thick and that's with the graphite and that's just the white Amsterdam with the Elmer's glue. Okay, I'm going to put that away. And then got this one. Oh, the other two back here are the Elmer's glue. And I have one more drawer. Where did I put that? The missing drawer.
Right. Victorian, but not in a good way.
Yeah.
Okay, Lynn. Lynn has to go.
Oh, Lynn, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it.
See you
Thanks for
tomorrow
putting
at
up with us and
yep.
experimenting.
See you tomorrow at PM Arter Studio.
Yeah, we'll see you in the morning. And I will have the actual construction of the box for the next stream. So this is the one with the sand, with the iron sand, and it's actually almost dry. Isn't that funny? That
That
like
is
the sand dried out the liquid, but it's on there. I mean, well, that one's not dry right there, but that's on there. That is very cool.
yes, it is.
I did lose a drawer though. Got to
Yes, you
figure out
did.
where that went.
Thank you
Screen.
everyone for being here. Thank you for the thumbs
Yeah,
up that you gave. If you come back and watch the replay, please leave a comment.
please.
Share it. We'd love to hear your comments.
Yes, and thank you for
For
just
for Yep.
chilling with us tonight. I really did lose a drawer. I don't know where it went. I have no idea where I said it.
You
Well,
ate
it
all of
probably
you.
wasn't done anyway, so that's
Hi,
fine.
Marta.
Hey, Marta. Okay, so we will get photos as soon as these are all dry and they've done their magic. And I will then choose a technique and go from there. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Yep.
So, thank you everybody for joining me. You all have a beautiful night, and we'll see you in the morning. Bye, guys.
Bye bye.